Okay, let's start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب زدني علما، رب زدني علما، رب زدني علما. اللهم فقهنا في الدين، اللهم فقهنا في الدين، اللهم فقهنا في الدين. In our last class, we completed all the Arabic alphabets, starting from Alif till Ya, and we learned their origins, basically from where we have to pronounce each and every letter and how are we going to pronounce them, right? And then we divided all these 29 letters into three groups. One was the heavy letters, that was Khuswa, Zogt, and Qais. And then there was the whistling letters that were Swad, Za, and Sin. And then the rest of the letters were the normal letters, having normal pronunciations. No heavy sounds, no lighter tones, but with a very normal voice. And no whistling sounds, right? So other than the khusla, zalt, and kiz, and the swad, za, sin, all the letters are the normal letters, right? Today we will be starting the pronunciations with the harakas. Harakas are basically the signs. Some of you know them with the names as Zabar, Zair, and Pesh, right? Let me write over here as well. So one is a Zabar that comes above the letter, right? It's above the letter and it gives the letter in A sound, right? The sound is with an A sound. Then we have the Zair that is basically below the letter and it gives the letter in E sound, right? And then we have the other haraka that is pesh. And pesh is basically above the letter, but it is having a shape just like a waw, right? Just like a waw, like that, right? It is above the letter, but it gives the letter and oo sound, right? So these are the some names that are common in English or maybe Hindi or maybe Urdu. But we also have the Arabic names for the Zabar, Zair, and Pesh. For Zabar, we use Fatha. Fatha is basically Arabic term, which means above. We have Kasra, that is, which means that below. And then we have Dhamma. And Dhamma is just like, Dhamma is just like this other word for the pesh, okay? So Fatha giving an A sound, Kasra giving an E sound, and Dhamma or pesh giving an U sound, okay? So these are the harakas, basic harakas used in the Quran. Now, we also have double Fatha, double Kasra, or double Dhamma, which can also be double Zabar, double Zair, and double pesh. And whenever they come, they give the letter with an N sound at the ending. So if it is doubled, it says, yeah, if it is doubled, it's going to give the letter and an sound, okay? And if it is going to be doubled, the kasra, if it is going to be doubled, it's going to give the letter and, in sound with the addition of and E at, and not E, the letter N at the ending, okay? So whenever we have, one second. Yeah. So whenever we have the haraka doubled, we call it as tanween. Okay? Tanween, making an N sound at the ending. So there are different conditions when we stop in the Quran on different harakas. Basically, it's called waqf, having two conditions. One is the general ruling and the other one is an exception, because sometimes we don't follow the exception. Let's learn the waqf first, and then inshallah we will be doing the practice exercises today. So waqf basically means when and how are we going to stop in the Holy Quran in the ending of the sentence or maybe in between the sentence. So for the general rulings, it says what we have to do is we have to make the last letter sakin. Sakin is the term that we have to learn today as well, or might be in the next class. It's basically giving the letter, making that letter silent, or giving the letter a haraka that is called as jazm or sukoon, the haraka that basically takes the sound of that very letter itself and makes it to be joined with the previous letter to be pronounced. Okay, so inshallah we will discuss about it in the detail, but let's consider it as silent. We have to make that very last letter silent in the journal rulings. But if we have the word ending with the haraka, that is double zabar or double fatha, in that very situation, we are not going to make that letter silent, but we are going to say one haraka and we are going to ignore the other haraka. Okay. And for the round ta is also basically the letter ha having two dots above, which is a round ta. So whenever we have to stop in the Quran on the round ta, we change it into its original letter, that is ha. Okay. I hope the rulings are clear to you guys. Let's move towards the practice exercises and then let's practice these waqf sounds over there to understand them. Okay. Anyone having any question till now? No questions? Okay, let's start the harakas. This is the one that you can see in the pink color over here. It is called as fatha or zabar, the one that comes above the letter, and it's going to give the letter an azam. Okay, just like the letter jim over here, jim with the zabar is going to be ja sound, or the letter swad with the zabar is going to be swa sound. Okay, this is the exercise for the zabar. So we are going to read it first with all the harakas, all the signs, and then we are going to say this very word with the waqf sound as well. Okay, so let me say this one. It is ba with a zabar, sin with a zabar, and ra with a zabar. Ba, sa, ra. Right? Ba, sa, ra. This was the way it was written. I have pronounced it the way it was written. Let's say it with the waqf. Let's suppose it was present in the end of the ayah, where the ayah was ending. It was the last word. So I have to end over here. How am I going to say it? The journal ruling says until and unless there is a double zabar or the ha, you have to make the exceptions. But this is not a double zabar, right? It is a single zabar. So what I am going to do is I'm going to ignore this zabar, and I am going to change this letter into silent sound, or the one that is having a sukoon above it. And I am going to join the seen sound with the ra, saying it as sar. Sa is the sound of the seen with the zabar, and R is going to be the sound of the ra. Basara, basar, like that. Okay. The journal rule for waqf says if we have any haraka except the double zabar or any letter except the round ta, we have to make that very letter silent and we have to join it with the previous one. So basara was changed into basar only when we have to stop in the Quran. Okay, let's do one more example. So it is taraka, right? I have made the raw sound heavier because it was with the zabar. Taraka. And when I have to say it with the sukoon or the waqf, it should be ta-rak, joining the ra with the letter kaf. Ta-rak. I hope it's clear to you guys. Is it? Bayam, Shazia, or I think it's Mardiya. Are these rulings clear to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Amazing. What about others? Okay, so today we are going to do the exercise practices and you guys are going to be saying all these words, all these exercises, and I will be rectifying it. Okay, so we all know the basic harakas and we all know the pronunciations, right? What we have to do is we have to rectify the pronunciations. So one by one, each and every one of you are going to say one line and then we will listen and we will rectify together. Okay. Let's start. Who wants to say the very first line from here? You have to say it first the way it is written. Secondly, with the waqf sounds, just like I said it. Basara and then basar. Taraka and tarak, like that. Who wants to say first? Mariam, would you like to start? Okay, Shadia, go ahead. Yeah, from here.
بسر
Yeah,
بسر
Mhm.
بسر
Yeah, make the raw a bit more
ترى
heavier.
بسر بسر
Amazing. This one?
ترك ترك
Yeah,
مثل مثل
good.
جمع جمع
Mm-hmm.
حسد حسد
Okay, we are going to make the ha more
حسم
thin. Hasada, hasad.
حسد حسد
Good.
ختم ختم
Amazing. Perfect. Jazakallah. Mariam, would you like to say the second line? Or Mardia. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Would you like to say the second line? Are you guys with us? Can you guys hear me? Shazia, can you hear me? Is my voice coming?
yes yes ma'am I think they are away from their phones.
Oh, I guess they are not with us, I guess. Okay. Would you like to continue? Yeah, would you like to continue from here?
دخل دخل
Yeah, the kha more strongly. The khala.
دخل دخل
Yeah.
ذراء ذراء ذراء
Mm-hmm.
رفع رفع
Yeah.
زعم زعم
Mm-hmm.
سأل سأل
Yeah.
شجر شجر
Yeah, let's make the
صدق
raw a bit more
صدق
heavier again. Shajara.
شجر شجر
Mm-hmm.
صدق صدق
Yeah.
ضرب ضرب
Mm-hmm.
طبع طبع
Yeah.
ظلم ظلم
And
غفر غفر
perfect.
فرد فرد.
Amazing. Jazakallah khair. Okay, let's move towards the next exercise. It is basically the double haraka for the zabar. Whenever the double haraka comes, we just studied that if the double haraka is going to be there, it's going to be an n sound additional at the ending. So if it was a sound or the zabar sound a sound, for the double haraka, for the double zabar, it's going to be an, right? So for the letter Jim, with the zabar it was ja, but with the double zabar it's going to be jan. Or the letter swad, with the zabar was swa, but with the double zabar it's going to be swan, right? In this exercise today, we will be studying both the exceptions for the waqf, basically the double zabar and the letter round ta. So let's discuss the double zabar first. It is like ajaban, right? The way it is written, it's ajaban. Now, whenever this word comes at the end of the ayah, what we have to do is we have to change the sound of the very last letter, right? So the first exception over here says, if the last letter is having a double zabar, what we have to do is, we have to say it with the single zabar only, single haraka. We have to ignore the other sign. So over here, it says ajaban. Ba is having the double sign, right? So what we have to do is, we have to ignore the double sign and we have to consider it with the single zabar, that is ba sound. So it was ajaban, but with the work, we have to say it ajaba. And when we see the ba sound, we have to stretch it a little bit more. Why? Because we have the letter alif next to it. And this alif joining with the zabar, single zabar, is going to give a stretchy sounds for 2 seconds long. This is what the madda means. It is basically an alif madda, but inshallah, we will discuss it in our next rulings, when and how we are going to stretch it. But for now, what we have to do is, every time we are pronouncing any word with the single zabar, changing the double zabar into single zabar, we have to stretch it a little bit longer. Like ajaban, ajaba, or ahadan, ahada, or harasan, harasa. Like I change the sun into sa and I stretch that sa sound for 2 seconds long. Okay? This is what the first exception says. Now the word is having a double zabar at the ending. I am supposed to change that double zabar into single zabar only when I am stopping at that way ayah. Okay? This was the first exception. Now the second word that we have is ending with the round ta. So for the round ta, what we have to do is, we have to do 2 things. First is, you have to ignore the 2 dots, and then you have to ignore all the signs that are present above or below that. Okay? It doesn't matter if there is a double zabar or double zair on it, or single zabar or single zair on it. What we have to do is, we just have to change that letter into ha and consider it as silent, which means joining it with a previous letter sound. Okay? Let's pronounce it. So it was written amanatan, right? Amanatan. Now let's suppose this word was at the end of the ayah. So I have to change the round ta into ha sound, ignoring the 2 dots and ignoring the sign that is present above or below it. Joining this ha sound with the noon as nah. Ama, nah, like that. Okay? Amanatan is going to be changed into amanah. We have one more word with the same sounds, like it was ba, ro, and then tan. So again, we have the round ta. So we have to change it. Ba, ro, tan into ba, ro, like that. Okay? This is what the exception for the general rules of the waqf says. So if it is a round ta, change it into ha. If it is a double zabar, change it into single zabar. I hope it's clear to you guys. Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, amazing. Okay, let me say this exercise for you guys, and then inshallah we will end the lesson over here. And inshallah in our next class, we will be doing our first rule, that is of qalqala. Okay? So from here, it says ajaban, change it into single zabar, ajaba. It is amanatan, change the down ta into ha, amanah. This one is abathan, abatha, harajan, haraja, marahan, maraha. We are changing the double zabar into single zabar, and we are stretching the sounds a little bit to pronounce the alif along with it. Okay? Then we have ahadan into ahada, rashadan, rashada. Okay, in this one, we have the letter ya at the ending, not the letter alif. Whenever the ya is in the Holy Quran and it is without the 2 dots below it, it is basically alif maksura, which is another form of alif. So we don't have to read it as ya, we have to consider it as a alif, and we have to stretch it just like we were stretching over here the alif, rashada, just like that. Adhan, adha. And also, whenever in the Holy Quran we don't have any sign on any letter, we don't read that way. Okay? Adhan, adha, basharan, bashara, bataran, batara, and then harasan, harasa, qaswasan, qaswasa. Do you remember all the letters that we studied as heavy? We do have to pronounce them heavier. Except for the letter ra, it can be lighter only when it is coming with a zay. Okay? Then we have maradon, marado, wasaton, wasato, shatwaton, shatwata, like that. Okay? I hope these things are clear to you guys. We have all the rulings written in our PDF as well. You guys can consult this PDF as well. And you guys have to do the practice for the Zabar and the double Zabar exercise along with the work sounds as well, so that we can say them correctly in the Holy Quran when we start. Okay? We are done with the lesson over here if anyone is having any questions.
No question, ma'am. It was very clear and I understand it.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Okay, let's end the class with the dua. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك 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 ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.